Welcome to Flash Tutorial Request 34 Dress Up Game. This is a computerized version of the game where you have a cutout of a doll and you have these cutouts of different costumes and you put them on her or him. I'm weak at drawing, so mine's going to be a snowman with some basic clothes. You have to be able to use the drawing tools to do this tutorial, and I'm going to show you how to make a movie clip in case you're not sure how to do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact me at flashthingy@hotmail.com. So I'm going to start by locking all my layers. Now you have nothing on your screen now, and you're going to have a blank layer, and you're going to select frame 1 and you're going to start your drawing, whatever it is. Well, I'm just going to use for example, a box. There it is. I want to use that box. It's going to be part of my doll or part of my person. I'm going to highlight it with my selection tool, modify it, convert it to a symbol, make sure movie clip is selected, and call it box, B-O-X, shift_MC. Say OK. Now this is a box, is a movie clip. If I open the library panel, I should have a box movie clip. There it is. And that's how you make a movie clip. Okay, so I'm going to delete that layer and delete this box because I don't need it. Don't let all these different layers frighten you right now. I'm going to go through them one at a time. I'm putting my stage down to 50% so we can see things as they come up. And we're going to start at the bottom, and you can see I have a layer that has the sky. That's this way I'm making my sky. I have some snow and some more snow. Now, you don't have to have this. You're going to have something different. Those can be drawings or they can be movie clips. Depends if you want to write code on them, they need to be movie clips or buttons, but if just sitting there static like this, they're just drawings. Then I made this thing called a snowman. And that snowman, it can just be what you see as drawn, but in my case, I'm going to double click on it. It's a movie clip. It's called Snowman. And I made all the pieces separately. So if I lock them all and hide them, you can see I have the bottom of a snowman, his head, his nose, one eye, another eye, his belly, and this is up to you how much detail you want this to be, and a couple arms. That's my snowman. There he is on scene 1. Okay, lock that. Let's go up to the next one, see what else I have. I have all these clothes he's going to wear. I have 3 scarves. I have a green scarf, a blue scarf, and a red scarf. They're all on top of each other. They're not going to be. And if I just look at one for a minute, this scarf red, if I highlight it and look over here, it's scarf red underscore movie clip, MC. Alright. That's the scarves. I have buttons, a set of red buttons, a set of blue buttons, and a set of green buttons. There's the green buttons, blue buttons, and red buttons. These are movie clips. And I have a red hat, a blue hat, and a green hat. And as I said, all those clothes are sitting on top of each other. If I look at my library panel, they're in here. There's my hat, buttons, my hat. And as I said, I made my land and my sky and things as movie clips, but you don't have to. Now the next thing we want to do is to make sure all these things, these hats and buttons and all these clothes, have what's called an instance name. So I'm going to lock all the layers, just except for this red hat layer. It's the only one that's unlocked. And there it is. It's selected. I go up here. There's what I got to call it. Hat red. H-A-T-R shift_MC. Right now, all of mine say buttons. They should say movie clips. Yours will say movie clips. Copy this. Right click. Copy it. Close that layer. Open the next layer. There's the red hat. Open the Properties panel, highlight it, and up here paste in what you have, and change this red to a blue, because now we're on blue hat. Change to a B. Lock that blue, open the green. Select it, paste it, and change this hat to G. Do the same thing. Well, we'll do one more with you, like the buttons red. If I open that up, select it. I want to call this buttons, B-U-T, capital R, shift underscore MC. Copy that, do the other buttons. Do the buttons and do the scarves, and I'll get back to you. Let's make sure all the layers are locked. Select the top layer. In my case, it's hat red. Insert a layer. Call this buttons, B-U-T-T-O-N-S. And buttons are made much the same as movie clips. And on that layer, make yourself 3 buttons. There they are. I have this one is called hat, and these 3 are indeed buttons. The button name is hat underscore BTN, the symbol name. Its instance name is hat underscore BTN. This one here is scarf underscore BTN, and this one here is butt as in buttons underscore BTN. And if I look inside, I'll show you how they're made. This is the layer here that I added when I made my button, as you would any button, using in this case the oval tool. I then opened up the button, I added this layer and wrote the text in here so that if I want to change it, I can change the text without making a whole new button. So now I have my buttons made, my 3 buttons. Now right now we have all the hats stacked on each other, the buttons are piled up, and we don't want that. We don't want to see any of these clothing until we tell them to appear. So let's start with the hat layer. Unlock hat red, select frame 1. You can see it highlights. Open the properties panel, highlight it, and make sure every time you do this that we go through them, it has an instance name. This one's hat R underscore MC, which is good. Let's double click on this. Now we're inside the movie clip. Lock this layer that I call hats. Click on this first layer, get that fuzzy square, drag it 1 to the right. So in this layer I have nothing, in this layer I have the hat. Insert a layer, call it action script, AS. Select frame 1, open the actions panel, STOP, open close brackets, semicolon. Copy this top layer, copy layer, go back to scene 1, lock the hat red, unlock hat blue. Select frame 1. Now you see how this turned to a transparent bluey thing. That's because I have that labeled as a button. I got to change that. You don't have that because you already changed that to a movie clip. You have a circle like that. That's what you should have. Select the hat blue, open the properties panel, make sure it has an instance name, double click on it. Now we're inside that movie clip. Click on that frame 1, drag it to the right, right click, paste layer, and there's our action layer done for us. Go back to scene 1, lock that layer, and I'm hiding these because I get this image, which I don't get all the time, but it's just telling me that I'm on a frame. Usually I just get a circle. You might just see a circle here on these ones. And my green hat is there. Selecting that one, open the properties panel, make sure it has an instance name, double clicking on it, dragging it to the right, and right click, paste layers. Do the same for your scarf and button movie clips. So now you can see the hats are there, but if I actually test it out right now, I'm sitting on blank frames, so there are no hats. And as I said, this is because at this point in time, I still have them as buttons, not movie clips like you have. If you followed what I was doing, you would have made these movie clips from the beginning. At this point in time, mine are still buttons. I got to change that, and that's why I'm seeing this crazy color. You should just see a circle now. I'll finish the timelines on my scarf and button movie clips and get back to you. I've done the remainder of my scarf and button movie clips and given them instance names like I'm supposed to. Now I fixed mine the way it should be, and there's this little circle. So now when we test it again, we can see these are buttons and my hats are not being seen. Click on this layer, add a layer, call it AS Action Script, and open the Actions panel. Type, and we're starting off with a variable, VAR turns purple, space, hat count, capital H, capital C, HATCNT, colon, number, capital N, turns blue, equals 0, semicolon. This is how we're going to keep track of the hats so we can have them start over like blue, green, red, like that. And here's that button, the hat button we just made. That's that one there, this hat button. It says hat underscore BTN, capital H, period, add event listener, small a, capital E, capital L, turns blue. Open bracket, mouse event, capital M, capital E, that turns blue. Period. These are all capitals. CLICK. Comma, and I'm calling this cell hat, as in select hat. SEL, capital S, HAT, capital H, close bracket, semicolon. Here's the function. FUNCTION. Copy cell hat, paste it in here. Open bracket, event, EVENT, turns blue. Colon, copy mouse event, paste it in. Close bracket, colon void. Void turns the same color as function. Open curly bracket. And this section right here keeps track of the hats so we can repeat them over and over. Blue, red, green, like that. If IF turns purple, open bracket, hat count, that's that variable right there, hat count, equals 3, close bracket. This is a test. I need two equal signs. Two equal signs says, is it equal to? If I only had one, that means make hat count equal 3 if there was only one equal sign. Close bracket. There's open curly bracket for this if hat count equals 0. Semicolon, close curly bracket. So if the count is at 3, that means we've seen our last hat because we only have 3. This would send it back to count back to 0 so I can start over again. That's how that works. Hat count equals hat count plus 1 semicolon. This just increments it. You could have also said, I believe, hat count plus plus semicolon. Anyway, every time we press that button, this hat button, we're going to increment this hat count. Now it says if open bracket hat count equals 1, close bracket, that's when I want to see the first hat. Open curly bracket. Now this is hat B underscore MC. That's the hat movie clip, the blue one. Period. Go to and stop. GOTO, they're small. Capital A, capital S. Open bracket 2, close bracket, semicolon. So when I first start and make the count 1, it'll go and put the hat, the blue hat, on his head. Copy this, paste it twice, and change the B to a G here, and then change it to an R for my green and red hats, and make them frame 1s. so they stop at frame 1 where there is no hat and just the blue hat shows. And to see if this is working, I'm doing a trace. TRACE, that turns blue, like this up here, this stop, this go to and stop turns blue. Open bracket, quotation 1, close quotation, close bracket. Inside those brackets turns green, semicolon, and a close curly bracket for this if. Copy all that. Paste it in, change the 1 to a 2 here. This blue hat, make it frame 1 so I can't see it. Make the green hat frame 2 so we can see it. Make the red hat frame 1 so we don't see it. This time trace 2. And the traces helps us. If we see the trace and the hats don't move, then we know that the button worked and something's wrong with the go to and stop or the movie clip itself. Trace, open bracket. Oh yeah, we have all that because we copied it. And we also have this because we copied it. Come here, paste it again. This time make sure I have a 3 in here. Make sure I have a 1 in here, a 1 in here, and a 2 in here. And make sure I have a 3 in here. And this bracket here, this curly bracket came with us. Make sure you have a final curly bracket here. If you click this, that aligns it up for us. It's auto format. And this tells us if we have any basic errors. So with a little bit of luck, let's test this out. No errors. There's the blue hat and it counts up here 1. That's the trace up here. Then it's 2, 3. Now like I said, if this number's counting right for you and the hats aren't changing, the button works. It's the coding inside the button or the hat movie clips themselves. And I think that's pretty well as much as you need to be told, because what you would do is all this you have written here, you would write this for the buttons, and then you would write it for the scarves, and you should be able to do that. If you can't, get a hold of me and I'll try to help you through it. Hope you learned something from this tutorial, and I hope you use what you learn.